Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and hello to all of our viewers. Once again, I am Michelle Vincent from the Thorburn School of Astrology, and I'm joined today with my colleague, Thea, who's also part of the Thorburn School of Astrology. Hello, Thea, how are you doing?
Hello, Michelle. I'm good, thank you. Hello, viewers. Nice to be back.
So today what we've decided to do, we've decided to pay attention to Mars because Mars, although it's known as what we call a personal planet, and we don't usually look at Mars in terms of predictions and so on and so forth because it's quite quick moving. It takes 2 years to actually orbit around the sun. But right now it's busy forming a lot of very interesting aspects to the various outer planets. So the reason why we're bringing this to your attention today is that Mars is the planet of action, it's the planet of manifestation, it's the planet of energy, but it's also the planet of aggression and anger and frustration and irritation. So on the one hand, we've got all this amazing energy, but on the other hand, it can actually be quite negatively expressed. So because of that, we really want to help our viewers be very mindful about keeping a balance right now. And by bringing your attention to Mars, we're going to just give you a few tips in terms of what Mars is doing in our skies at the moment and what you might be a little bit more mindful and conscious of. So on that note, Thea, would you like to tell us the first thing, which is Mars, that is for most of October, and we're already on the 8th, but for Mars squaring the sun, or the sun square Mars?
First of all, just want to tell our viewers that we will definitely be moved and driven by our emotions. With this Mars being in Cancer, and I mean, also if you put Mars in Cancer, Mars it's your root. It's about survival. It's, you know, and so is Cancer. Cancer is also our root, and it's all about how to survive and how we survive. So there's going to be a lot of that energy, I feel, you know, that survival and fighting for survival energies. But for the square to the sun, I feel that our characters might be tested by our competitors and by our enemies. We might be provoked. And I mean, there's a lot of masculine energy here with the Mars and the sun. And like maybe a bit like male authorities or something like that, pushing the limits or pushing you to some sort of limits. And it may also bring a lot of irritation and impatience. And with that, and this is a warning to our viewers, with that irritation and impatience with situations, is if there's the slightest provocation, it can be like a bomb that bursts, completely over-exaggerated. And then it also brings lots of reckless and impulsive energy to this, like you can be defensive, very offensive, and yeah, and events might even force you to have to fight and protect your goals or what is precious to you or what you nurture. Does that make sense? Like it can bring a lot of defensiveness, and you might feel the need to have to fight for something. And it can also build up to a lot of anger, a resentment, and that energy, that anger, the resentment, this whole Mars squaring the sun energy, actually, I feel needs to be constructively channeled into physical. You have to work the energy, and the energy, not you.
And how would you suggest the viewer works the energy?
Well, if you're not a gym bunny, because I mean, I feel that would be the best. I'm not a gym bunny. I like to do yoga every now and again, but I feel yoga would work for me personally at this stage. But taking a walk, doing gardening, asking your neighbor, can I cut your lawn for you, your pavement lawn or whatever? I feel even that kind gestures, doing that would elevate the energy into being less
So there,
aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if I'm getting you right, what our viewers need to take out of this is that right now there's a lot of masculine energy with the sun and with Mars both being very masculine, right? Mars being in Cancer means that the feminine comes into it, but that feminine in more of an aggressive type of way. So instead of doing, so instead of doing the Libran, where we're looking at things from a diplomatic point of view, it's the case of just erupting. So on that basis, there's two things that maybe our viewers should take away from that. And that's the first thing is always take a step back and find your balance. That would be number one. And number two is because we've always got a choice, haven't we, Thea? We've always got a choice that either we're going to react to these things in the full-blown way of the negative and lose our temper and lose our stuff and be aggressive and be like all over the show, because you said such a lovely phrase, we are going to be driven by our emotions. And we know that emotions are messy. So we've got a choice of actually expressing this in a very negative way, or we've got the choice of actually working with this energy and being positive about it by channeling it and getting rid of it through exercise. Any form of activity is going to be better than doing nothing, no matter what that activity is. Would you say that that would be good advice to give to our viewers?
That would be excellent advice. And I can even take it for myself, because as you can see, I'm busy moving and I have to pack. So if I don't keep myself busy, I am stressing, I'm frustrated or whatever. And when I feel like that, I just grab a box and I start packing. And if I see again, I've got like 3 boxes packed.
Nice.
Yeah, and the whole like frustration or whatever, it's like left.
Okay. So I think the other thing that I just want to add in terms of Mars square the sun is that it's going to be exact. The square, which is a tension, it's a difficult aspect when these two planets come together. It's going to be exact on the 13th and the 14th of October. Now, why this is important is that when the planets are in an exact aspect to each other, it really brings everything to the head. It really is almost like the crescendo of the orchestra, of the tsunami, of the volcano. So just to be very mindful around the 13th and 14th of October, but also the lead up to it, because thereafter, and these two planets begin to separate, that's the aftermath of all this drama together with a crescendo. So be very mindful how you are behaving and acting with things right now. Okay. So Thea, the other thing that I see over here is Mars trine Neptune. Would you like to actually talk to us a little bit about that one?
With Mars trining Neptune, obviously that's a bit softer than a square, and it's also not the sun and the moon. I feel with that we get a nice opportunity actually to go into our spiritual bodies, and it's or artistic, doing something creative or artistic. I feel like it softens this tension we have, because this is also happening while the square is happening. This trying to Neptune as well as to Venus at the same time. Is it no?
Yes, it is a trine.
At that. Yeah. So, and that again brings in a lot of feminine energy. I would say, just be careful for someone maybe trying to pull the wool over your eyes with Neptune there, you know, for deceit or anything like that. But ultimately, I feel that this is a good day for doing that inner, getting calm perspective over things, even though there's not a lot of perspective coming with Neptune. Now, is it, it's maybe a good day to daydream away.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think what I'd like to actually add to what you just said there, Thea, is the fact that Mars is in Cancer, so it's a water sign, and Neptune is in Pisces, which is a water sign. It's in its own sign. So again, here is the flag that we want to talk about emotions. So if we're going to run away with our emotions aggressively, angrily, frustratedly with the Mars, okay, in Cancer with the Sun, this is the opportunity for us to actually soften everything and to come back into our center. But the center that we're coming back to within ourselves is, I don't know how to say this, it's our essence, okay? It's our essence that we want to come back to, that the core of who we are, because that's where you feel, this is the spiritual stuff coming through here. That is when you feel the calmness, the peace. So the challenge right now is to actually find that calmness and that peace on an emotional level when everything around you is actually erupting. And to just work on keeping that balance. And a good place to actually expend your energy is around the house. So if there's something within, so you're in the perfect situation now because you're moving there, because you can use your energy around that in packing. But if there's stuff in the house that needs fixing or things like that, maybe this is the opportunity to actually do that, to actually just shut out the outside world and come in and actually paint that room that you've always been meaning to paint, or create that spiritual altar that you've always been meaning to do. This is really the time to actually do that. I would say to you that, I don't know, I'm just getting the feeling that rather go within than without for what you're doing with yourself right now. Rather keep yourself amused as opposed to looking for the entertainment outside of you, because outside of you is going to bring in the drama.
Yes, and the negative, maybe like lots of negative thoughts, because just when you do look outside of yourself and you see the state of the world and the wars and all of these things going on, I feel not to feed into that energy. It is best to just come within and stay in your little bubble for now.
And it's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
I mean, I've just had a day today where I got home and I thought to myself, Michelle, why did you engage? You made yourself a promise not to engage in this type of talk or whatever the case may be, and I did. And the reason why I did is because the information given to me actually made me feel unsettled. You know, so that was the emotional flag which should have told me to walk away, and I didn't. I'm going to manage it now, and I'm going to offset any potential drama, but I'm cross with myself for having engaged in the first place. Okay, so I am conscious we are going to make mistakes, but it's okay. We can actually reverse and work it from there. I think we've only got 8 minutes left. So I just want to touch on, I will touch on Mars square Chiron. Okay. Now Mars is in Cancer, which we've spoken about. There's a lot of potential negativity around Mars in Cancer. Mars is not happy in Cancer. Mars is a fiery planet. Cancer is a water sign. They tend to negate things out. They tend to nullify each other. But it is bringing about the emotions, and it is bringing about all that stuff around the home, which is why it might be a good idea to actually look for spiritual refuge within your home. But it's square Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer, where there's always a perceived hurt. And Chiron is in Aries. So Aries is all about our independence. And right now, we might be feeling that our independence is being threatened. Whether that happens on a global level or a personal level, it's about, like usually with Mars in Cancer, we would protect, for a country, we would protect our borders, we would protect against war, we would protect against all that sort of thing, we would protect against the enemy. And with Chiron, the perceived hurt is that maybe our perceived hurt is the fact that we have always looked for validation from external sources instead of looking, first of all, to ourselves for validation. Now, Chiron in Aries is really looking for that inner validation. That way, you can start understanding yourself in a more self-sovereign type of way. Okay. And the challenge of Mars in Cancer, Cancer is very traditional, and it's also very family orientated, home orientated. Now, when we look at family and home, we're looking at traditions and beliefs and values that we inherit. And maybe there's some of those values and traditions that we are being forced to relook at. And it hurts. Not going to take away the hurt. Okay. It hurts, but it's all the next step in terms of your individual freedom. Your individual freedom from actually rising above the perceived lies that we've been given in terms of values and beliefs and all the rest of it. And I think that's all I really want to say about that at the moment. We'd be very, very happy if anybody wants to know more information about this. You can always pop us an email because Thea puts all of that in our post. But as we begin to close off, Thea, tell us and give us a little bit about the warnings of Mars opposition Pluto.
Yeah, that's quite a biggie because it's not really a personal thing as much as a global thing, even though if you look at your own chart, you will see how it plays out in your own chart, obviously. But with this, it's a power play. It's very powerful, and it's very primal energy. And I feel that this kind of brings the fight or flight energy, you know, should you be in a situation. It is intense passion for achieving. It is very competitive, and there's a lot of power struggles that comes with this Mars-Pluto opposition. You can come up against powerful enemies of yours during this time, or powerful like opposition parties, not necessarily, I guess, enemies. Yeah, if you might be in for a fight, or not even necessarily you might be in for a fight if someone is trying to power play you, they might be up for a fight, you know, like no one is going to really back down here, you know. And it is yeah, it's very aggressive, and yeah, there's a potential for this aggression, and a very dangerous potential for this aggression to turn very violent, as we can see, like with previous Mars oppositions Mars-Pluto oppositions that I looked at, especially considering that we are protecting everything that is valuable to us.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. And yeah, don't you think it's interesting? I've actually just realized this now, that Mars is not happy in Cancer, but Mars is very happy in Capricorn because it's
Yes.
exalted. We say that it's exalted in Capricorn and in fall in Cancer. So in a way, it's almost like side, and Mars and Pluto are actually of similar energy, because remember, in traditional astrology, Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, and it's only in modern astrology that Pluto became the ruler of Scorpio. So I think there's a lot of potential vindictiveness around this as well, okay, because Scorpios can be very, very vindictive, spiteful. So we must just watch for these type of energies, and as you rightly say, Thea, in power play situations. Now, power play situations can be in your personal relationships, not only your intimate relationships, but maybe even within your family, your children, all those sort of things. It could be that. It could be power plays within your work environment. So as much as we're looking at it from a global point of view, there's also a lot of stuff that on a personal, it could be power plays within. So you need to be mindful and conscious that there is this. I think that Mars is going to favor the Capricorn in this Mars-Pluto opposition because it's exalted there. Okay.
Yeah.
So although it's in Cancer, it's like, whoa, this is rough. This is quite a rough one. And I want you to remember that it's 240 odd years ago that Pluto was in Capricorn. So it's only then that Mars would have been in opposition between these two signs for that period of 14 to 16 years. Wow. I mean, that's like a wow. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in a way, what we're saying, viewers, is prepare yourself for a potential roller coaster ride. That could be about power plays. And the most important thing is whatever's happening out there, you need to keep your center, your balance. And even if, like me today, you actually go off course, just correct yourself.